Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. It is Chamber Check-in time, and welcome to another Chamber Check-in episode from your only five-star accredited chamber in the state of Idaho. Today, we get to hear from Marketing Director for Sockeye Brewing, Tyson Carden. Hi, Tyson.
Hi, how are you?
I'm terrific. Thanks for taking an opportunity to help share the Sockeye Brewing story with me today, Tyson. I was in the beer industry, as you know. I sold beer and wine for a local wholesaler here, the Miller Coors House. And when I had the opportunity to come work for the chamber, one of the first breweries that I reached out to engage in chamber membership was Sockeye Brewing. And I went into the Cole address and had a discussion with Janice Skinner. And what I learned about Sockeye was that they're not only a brewery and a grill place, they were community focused. And I thought that was refreshing since I didn't really know or understand Sockeye Brewing. So this is a great opportunity to talk about kind of the history of Sockeye and some special fun announcements here as well about the new ale house. But these check-ins, Tyson, are really ways to help share our member stories, their products and services, and most importantly, the people. So let's start with you, Tyson. How long have you been with Sockeye, and give us a little bit of your background and history of work that led you into this industry?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's an exciting time to tell the story of Sockeye. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. I think we're entering the future of Sockeye. We're a 27-year-old company. So to be 27 years into this and have the growth and the excitement around our brand, from my perspective, is just exciting. So like I said, I appreciate you giving me a second to talk about that. My background, I was a retail sales manager and aspiring brewer, got laid off and decided to start a brewery here locally. I actually was one of the co-founders of Powderhouse Brewing, so got into it as a passion project. That was where I got my start. I was home brewing just like any other, like the insert brewery name here. A lot of the people always start from the homebrew aspect and move up. Fortunately, got big real quick, hired a lot of experienced people. And as I transitioned out of my role at Powderhouse, an opportunity came up here at Sockeye Brewing to be the marketing director. And kind of the rest is history. 5 years later, I'm sitting here talking to you, and we're on the precipice of kind of exploding and blowing up. So we're stoked.
Oh, that's awesome. I mentioned the Cole address, and it's been a few years since you've operated out of there. Tell us the expansion from there, because you were in two locations for a little bit. What's the current? How did all that change? And tell us a little bit about the Fairview location first.
Yeah, absolutely. So Fairview location brewing started here in 2012. Didn't open until 2014 as a full functioning restaurant. The exciting part about the Fairview location is it became quickly a flagship location, and Cole just still has this special place in a lot of people's hearts. Is that's where people met their spouses. That's where they'd meet for a beer after they'd play rugby or do something. And it was such a community-driven location for so long that there was an affinity built for that location. So closing that location in 2019 was definitely not something that was easy to do. But in looking forward, like I said, being a 27-year-old company, and at that time, about 23 years, when we closed, 23-year-old company, how do you expand and continue to have the same values of Sockeye Brewing, while kind of progressing towards what the future would look like? And unfortunately, we had to close Cole, but Fairview, obviously not being too far from there, quickly became the flagship when it opened. We do all of our brewing here. We do all of that, barrel aging, anything, canning, packaging happens here. And then, it's a flagship restaurant. We're really well known for our finger steaks. Our salmon is just world class. It's an exciting space. And I saw someone actually pop up on the chat, excited about 36, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Got to dangle the carrot out there for you guys. But 36th Street is definitely an evolution for Sockeye into the future.
Well, Tyson, this is a brewery, right? Sockeye is one of the most awarded breweries in the state of Idaho. Kind of tell us a little bit about those 4 flagship flavors. I'm a Dagger Falls IPA fan.
Yeah,
Wherever I go, I usually get that. But tell us a little bit about some of the brands that have been awarded and share that with us.
absolutely. Dagger Falls, #1 selling beer in Idaho by volume, that's made here in the state. 95% of its ingredients are actually grown here in the state, so that's an exciting thing to share with everyone. It's a selling story and a cool story. When you're drinking our liquid, you're drinking something that was, not only paying the bills here at Sockeye, but there's a farmer growing those hops. There's a farmer growing the grain here in the state of Idaho, so it's keeping dollars local. So Dagger Falls being that large of a sell, that's actually about 60-65%, depending on the year, of our annual production. So we're very proud of that. It's a cool thing. As a new brewery coming into the space, it's hard to rest your laurels and say that you've got one flagship beer. So we're fortunate enough for that. Our second, third, and fourth beers, it depends on your flavor. Lonesome Larry Lager got a fantastic story behind, the lone fish that saved his species back in the 90s, made the trek from the Pacific Ocean up the rivers and made it to Redfish Lake and spawned and saved the species.
Wow.
Powerhouse Porter, it's our #1 award-winning beer. Won more medals with that beer than anything. I like to say if you don't like Powerhouse Porter, you just don't like porters. It's very true to style. And then from there we've got our Angel's Perch Amber, which is the little engine that could. It's kind of the gateway drug beer for a lot of people. It's beer for beer's sake. It's not overly bitter. It's not a light lager. It's just right down there in the middle and does really well for us. But those would be, what I would consider Sockeye's flagship beers. Dagger Falls takes the cake though at 65% of our production. So something to be said for that beer alone.
It's not often that I have a craving for a certain type of beer, but every once in a while, I'll get a Dagger Falls IPA craving, and I got to go to Harry's in downtown or in Hyde Park and have them pour me a big pint of that.
They're one of the OGs, we like to call them, because if you've noticed down there, they've got the older handle too. They won't give it up. They're very, very proud of the heritage and being one of our longest standing Dagger accounts. So good on them. We appreciate their business.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Hey, I was reviewing your website and finding out some cool information to talk about, and I ran across something I had no idea about. Yeah. It's called the Chronicles.
Yes.
Help share that story.
Yeah. So Sockeye Chronicles is, again, while we're diving into what does Sockeye look like for the next 27 years, one of our favorite things as brewers and people in the beer industry is barrel aging beer. But everyone makes a barrel aged stout, makes a barrel aged this, that, and the other. But how do we do it a little bit different? So Sockeye Chronicles is a series in and of itself that is beers that are, one, kind of off the wall, but two, intended for the beer nerd, the craft beer nerd. How can we educate them while putting out just fantastic beers? So the first beer was Rev Rouge. It was a Belgian strong ale, had cherries in it, and it was just fantastic. Very limited run. And as we sell membership, so a membership is $200. You get, a hoodie, you get discount card, you get a bunch of stuff with it. But as we released that beer, the hype grew around, and Chronicles members started coming out of the woodwork. We now have a significant. It blew our expectations out of the water on how many members we want or needed for this program to succeed. The second one I'm looking at right here is our Midnight Cuvée. It's a blend of 5 different barrel-aged beers. So when I say that we're doing something unique, there's a chocolate stout in there. There's a black lager in there. So there's several different beers that were aged in different barrels, all into one. It's a very carefully curated blend. So Chronicles is just an extension brand of Sockeye to showcase what our brewers are capable of with dang near about 75 years of experience between the three of them. Cumulatively, they're very capable and very, I like to call them artists. They're very good at their craft.
Hey, how many different brewers has Sockeye had over the years?
Our head brewer, director of brewing operations, Josh King, has been here since the beginning. He took over very early, early 2000s, and has kind of led the ship from here. Dagger Falls, all the beers that you're aware of from Sockeye over the years. That's the brainchild of Josh King. And then we've had 3 or 4 different brewers that we've brought on over the years, and we're really proud of that. They're all very well tenured. They've either come from brewing operations that were just fantastic operations, or they came up here. Corey Walls is actually a homegrown guy. Learned here. He's worked here, I believe, 17 years.
Wow.
Just working in the restaurant, wanted to learn how to brew, and he's just a fantastic. Some of our hazies that we're putting out, he's our hazy whisperer. He's a fantastic brewer. So a lot of good experience with those guys.
So as a Idaho-grown, award-winning beer company, what does distribution look like now? How many states are served? Tell us about some of that.
Yeah, so statewide in Idaho and statewide in Montana with Hayden Beverage. That's something that we're excited about. Montana was a market we wanted to get into statewide, and Hayden Beverage kind of opened their book up there and allowed us to kind of grow there. We're also in Oregon, the eastern side of Oregon, so Pendleton this way.
Okay.
A little bit of Washington, and then also expanding next month into Alaska. So this is exciting for us. We have a fantastic distribution partner up there, so we'll be statewide in Alaska. We have been in Alaska in the past, but this is truly like a relaunch of Sockeye in the market, and it's exciting. We're taking trips up to Alaska. Our sales guys are next month to kind of let the cat out of the bag and start selling beer in the final frontier.
Well, congratulations on reaching those other distribution channels. I know it's important for the growth of the brand, and then also for the consumers to put the product in their mouths, because it's the good stuff.
Absolutely. Liquid to lips is how we sell. We want people to know that's good liquid.
Yeah, no, it really is quality. Hey, before we get into the 36th Street Ale House, help me share the community stewardship that Sockeye's had and has really been rooted in the communities that they serve, from the salmon conservation all the way to the nonprofits that you support.
Yeah, absolutely. Sockeye gives back to the community in several ways. One of the most exciting ways is our single hop pale ale series. This is something that was launched last year and is slowly growing into one of our blossoming brands and sales. But what it is the single hop pale. We'll do one hop, one single hop, so you get to experience what a hop like Galaxy hop or Eldorado or an experimental hop might taste like in a beer exclusively. But that particular series, we donate $1 back per case sold annually to salmon conservation. So I believe the stat from 2021 that there was only 43 sockeye salmon that returned to Redfish Lake. Those are just dismal numbers. That used to be in the thousands. Hence the name Redfish Lake. When those sockeye salmon would get up there, it turned the water red because there were so many there. So these dismal numbers, it's something that it's our namesake. It's on us to help do what we can. So that series is exciting. Another one that I'm really excited about and proud of, because I've had a pretty heavy hand in, is Bacon and Beer. Our Bacon and Beer Fest, we partner with Create Common Good to donate to Create Common Good. They do fantastic work at helping people gain skills in the kitchen. In fact, we hire a lot of their graduates in our kitchen. They learn how to cook, they learn how to use knives, they learn how to do everything. So they're a fantastic organization here in the community, and Bacon and Beer benefits them, and that's something we're also very proud of. It's a fun event too. Like, who hates bacon and beer, right?
Nobody. That's cool. All right. Okay, we're dangled the carrot long enough.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's been brewing for several months. I live in that part of town, and I got to tell you, the hype is real. I can only imagine what some of the soft openings been like for y'all. Help share the 36th Street Sockeye Ale House with us.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that the soft opening hasn't been so soft. Boise's come out in force, and we're excited. This weekend's going to be our grand opening, and I'll give some details about that. But Sockeye Ale House, we broke ground, or we've had a lease on this building when we announced it quite a long time ago. We started construction middle of summer last year, so construction timeline wasn't terrible, but having announced this so long ago, it felt like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to happen? So we're excited to finally unveil what's been behind the curtain and what we've been working on. One side of the 12,000 square feet is a golf course, a 9-hole putting green. And this isn't like hit the ball in the clown's mouth type of thing. This is very professionally done by Putt Tech, a company out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Built a 9-hole course that's just challenging. I'm a golfer, and even I can't, you think the line, but you still can't make the putt. So it's a challenge. It's challenging, but also very fun. But, the other side of it's a full functioning restaurant. We won't be brewing down there. Again, like I said earlier, we do all of our brewing here at our Fairview location. 36th Street, that we've taken kind of a spin on making elevated Idaho pub fare. So some of the things that you're familiar with off our menu here, finger steaks, for example, have made their way down there, but there's also exciting new menu items that I think people will enjoy.
Well, I'm so glad that you've invested in that part of town. It's going to bring that additional flair and flavor. And I tell you what, breweries over millennia have brought communities together, and through civilization have brought people together. And that's another thing that I'm really enjoying, is seeing friends and family members, sitting at a table and having a meal together and cheersing to the week. I think it's great, and we're so excited to have it down there. Your ribbon cutting and official kind of celebratory grand opening is this Friday,
Yes.
Right at 4:00.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So ribbon cutting will be at 3:00, just right before we're opening to the public at 4:00. As you said, the soft opening's been, it's been less than soft. It's been a huge turnout. But as of 4:00 tomorrow, the cat's out of the bag. We're open for business to everyone. Full menu, full bar. We do have a liquor license down there, so people can enjoy cocktails who maybe don't enjoy beer, or if you have a friend that wants to come along that isn't a beery person, we've got alternatives for that. And yeah, going back to your idea of community, 36th Street to us is definitely we want to be a pillar of that community over there and kind of represent that community well. I think that's something we did very, very well with Cole Road back in the day, and why people had that affinity. So I think it won't take long, but over time, the idea is to build the community to be a better place and hopefully be, a little bit of a community gathering center. There's a lot of good people down in that Collister and Hillside neighborhood, and we just want to be good neighbors back to them and have a good time doing it. At the end of the day, beer's beer. Let's have a good time. Come down, have a pint this weekend. Saturday, so I mentioned we're open at 4 on Friday. Saturday we'll be open at 11 till late. I imagine. Our hours will be 9:00, but I imagine people will be hanging out a lot longer. We'll have screen print T-shirts made right there. We have a company, Brigade, coming down to do that. We've got other local vendors kind of showcasing some of their stuff. It's going to be a party over the weekend. We're excited.
I love it. So I've been a part of the North Boise Little League for years, and my son's kind of graduated out of that. But you've got those hillside fields right next to you, and I've always thought I couldn't wait to have like a brewery right there to a type of a gathering place for the coaches and the families to gather after those Little League games. And it's there. I can't even believe it.
And I imagine this weekend's going to be absolute chaos, and that dirt lot right there next to the fields is probably our overflow parking for the weekend or something. We'll see. For those listening, that might be a good alternative for parking.
So we talked about a lot of stuff: the award-winning beers, the community stewardship, the new ale house. Is there anything else while I have you for a few more minutes? I'm going to put your website up on the screen and have it scrolling here. If anybody wants to check out that Chronicles membership, and then kind of check out some of the cool beers that you guys have been doing for years. But while I have you, is there anything else that you'd like to educate the listeners on?
I think the biggest thing from Sockeye going forward is an eye to the future. We're continuing to push forward with innovation and stuff. And I get a lot of questions from people, what's new with Sockeye? We're borderline every week, if not every other week, putting out new beers, new exciting styles. We partnered with a local coffee company, Necker Coffee, to do a brown or a copper ale that had their coffee in it. And it was just fantastically done. It was, in my opinion, one of the best beers I've experienced from Sockeye in quite a while. It was just unique in that it used a local coffee, and the way that they did the coffee was so different. But yeah, I think just making sure that people know, we're a brewery first and foremost. Beers are our passion, and we're going to continue innovating. So if you go to sockeyebrew.com, you'll always see what's new. We have our menus for both of our locations on there. So, if you're looking for something a little bit off the wall or a little bit different, you can find it here.
Tyson, thank you sincerely for your investment in the chamber. As I mentioned, Sockeye's been a member of ours since 2014, and for good reason. And I'm so looking forward to being a part of your ceremonial ribbon cutting this Friday. Bring the families down, come check it out. And I'll see you on Friday, Tyson.
Yes, I got a little surprise. I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag. But yeah, I got a little surprise. I think people will like too. So good photo
Awesome. Hey, I'll let you get back to it. I know you got a lot of planning still to do. I'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. Take care. Thank you.